Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Okay, doke. Okay, just waiting for someone to join up there. Let me send the link in the chat. If anyone wants to come in, I'm going to be discussing. Hold on. Okay, that's the link. Going to be just discussing if human beings have a soul or not. So let me just share my screen. Share. Is that sharing? What's going on? Okay. Why is it taking so long? What's going on? Try to do that again. That too. Why is this thing not showing fully? Oh man. Okay. Technical difficulty. Let's see if I can do that again. Okay. Yeah. How come I can't hear myself through this phone? Check. 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 I hope I'm coming through. Oh, my colleagues just joining. Added to stream.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, man. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I hear you. I hear you. Oh, God, I'll come off again.
Okay, cool.
Be careful that with YouTube, it's getting delayed, remember?
Yeah.
You might have to turn your mic down a touch if you can turn it down.
All right. Yeah, I'll turn it down. 1 second.
Oh, I turned my headphones down. One of the two.
No, I'll turn the mic down. Is that better?
Yeah, you're good, man. I was just getting some echoes. That's all.
All right, is that a bit better? Yeah,
Yeah,
I've background noise. Yes. How you doing?
yeah, good, man. Can't complain.
I think it takes a while for the echo. I think it takes a while for the echo to stop. Keeps It's a weird delay, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm getting some delay from your side still. Why can't I hear myself in my headphones? Oh, that's because I ain't got monitor on. Okay, now I can hear myself. Okay. Yeah, so you can hear me good though, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you good now. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. You're right. I think when you have YouTube up, because I thought that you have to have YouTube, you have to have YouTube up to for the stream to work, but you don't, so you can close that window completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back again for another killer informative podcast.
Yeah.
Mm.
This one's on the soul.
Yep.
Do human beings have soul or not? Now, you can start if you want, or I can just show you what the definition is or what they've written
Yeah.
about. I've got it on the
Yeah.
screen there still.
Okay, let's have a look. Soul, religion and philosophy. Soul in religion and philosophy, the immaterial aspect or essence of a human being, that which confers individuality and humanity, often considered to be synonymous with the mind or the self. In theology, the soul is further defined as the part of the individual which partakes in divinity and often is considered to survive death of the body. Okay, that sort of sums it up. Many cultures have recognized that in incorporeal
Yeah.
principle of human life or existence corresponding to the soul, and many have attributed souls to all living things. There is evidence, even among prehistoric peoples, of a belief in an aspect distinct from the body and residing in it. Despite widespread and long standing belief in the existence of the soul, however, different religions and philosophers have developed a variety of theories as to its nature, its relationship to the body, and its origin and mortality.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Ancient.
so yeah, go on.
So, no, I was going to say, yeah. So basically, it's connected to. It's always been connected to us to throughout many cultures. It's always been connected to a divine source, and represent a divine higher power.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Throughout
and
many cultures.
throughout many cultures, and even to prehistoric times.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
So
so go ahead.
so people will say there's no scientific evidence
Mm,
that the
mm,
soul exists, but you find it in many religions
yeah, yeah,
about the soul existing.
yeah,
Let me just read this before we go, so we can have a clearer understanding.
yeah.
Amongst ancient people, both the Egyptians and the Chinese conceive of a dual soul. The Egyptians' ka, or breath, survives death but remains near the body, while the spiritual ba proceeds to the region of the dead. The
Mhm,
Chinese distinguish between a lower sensitive soul, which disappears with death, and a rational principle, the hun, which survives the grave and is the object of ancestral worship. The early
mhm,
Hebrews apparently had a concept of the soul, but did not
mhm,
separate it from the body. Although
mhm,
later Jewish writers developed the idea that the soul further, biblical reference to the soul are relative to the concept of breath and establish no distinctions between the ethereal soul and a corporeal body.
mhm,
Christian concept of a body soul dichotomy originate with the ancient Greeks and were introduced into Christianity theology as early date as Saint Gregory of Nyssa and by Saint Augustine. So the Christians basically took their concept of the soul from the Greeks, basically.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So what is the soul? Um, according to some documents,
Yeah.
the soul is attached to the baby at birth. That's how some people justify it. And there's also talks that there's 3 parts of the soul, and some people say 2. So there's different concepts of what they think the soul is and how it lives on after death, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I was just getting up something for the Tibetan Book of the Living and Dying that I saw earlier on. I wanted to elaborate on from a Buddhist perspective. Yeah. So there's still, but even in this description, it's still not science. It's not scientific, is it? It can still be considered a belief system.
Yeah.
So it's a theory.
Yeah. But if we look at the tripartite soul, what Plato was speaking about, I don't know if you can see my mouse right here. Plutonic soul consists of 3 parts, which are located in different regions of the body.
Okay.
Number 1, the logos. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get the logos in the Bible, right?
Yes.
Where it says God has given his only begotten son, the word, the living word. They call that the logos.
Okay.
So, but in Greek, it's located in the head, the logos. Can you see that?
Yeah.
It is related to reason and regulates the other parts.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Then it's got the thymos near the chest region, is related to spirit.
The spirit. Okay. Yeah.
And then you've got eros. Can you see that?
Yes.
And when I click on it, you see
Eros
eros.
Eros is a concept in ancient Greek philosophy referring to sensual or passionate love, from which in turn erotic, erotic, yes, is derived. Eros has also been used in philosophy and psychology in a much wider sense. Sorry, but I'm going to grab my notebook quickly. One second.
Okay, no worries.
Back. Yeah, that's interesting as well. It's a good it's good to write some notes here now.
So you see the third one, eros,
Yeah.
is located in the stomach and is related to one's desires.
Yeah. Eros, thymos, thymos and eros. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So one's located in there. So where's eros is located in the stomach and related to one's desires. Okay.
Yeah.
And the heart.
And you have to remember, the story, the reason why they use eros here, because I remember we just read that the Greeks got theirs from the Christians got their concept of the soul from the Christians. Now eros is very, very prominent in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Eros is also the god of love. He was so beautiful. I remember it was Eros who married Psyche. I don't know if you know the story.
Psyche. I see as well. It says it says there with the Eros caption that you've highlighted. It says it's equivalent to life energy as well. Eros. If you just where you highlighted Eros there.
Okay.
It also says. I also noticed it said at the bottom there. Eros has also been used in philosophy and psychology in a much wider sense, almost as an equivalent to life energy.
Yeah. The Protestant philosopher. So philosopher, that's why I said in Greek mythology, Eros is very important. Eros, I mean, all the gods were scared of Eros.
Yeah.
In Greek mythology, because Eros is the one who shoots his arrows.
Ah, similar to that Cupid, isn't it? Oh, sorry. We're talking about Cupid. I'm digressing there.
No, but it's true, because what it is in some texts, the mythology is kind of cross-reference. But anyway, the reason why they say Eros is desire, right? Because if you know the
Yeah.
story of Eros,
Yeah.
that's why I said to you the soul functions on two things.
Yeah. 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 Sorry, that was quite loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Let me put the volume down. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Go on. Yeah.
Yeah. So the soul, according to even Hermas, or who they
Yeah.
call Thoth, it functions on two things, which is motion and desires.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
most of the time we're thinking about things as we were talking
Yeah.
earlier when we talk about you'll do 98% of the things you do is for your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once
Yeah.
you start doing 98% of the things that you do for the body, then basically that's under desires.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Some people have an eating problem. They
Mm-hmm.
eat, they can't stop eating. It's
Yeah.
greed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the greed becomes an error to the soul, is what they're saying to you,
Okay. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's your desires.
Yeah.
So
What?
we can talk about the logos first, right? So if I
Yeah.
click on it,
Yeah. Logos. Logos is a term used in Western philosophy.
yeah, I just wanted to click on something,
All right.
see what they're saying. So
Yeah.
when you go down here, the logos
Yeah.
means word.
Logos. The
Okay,
article logos, word, discourse, origins of the term. I think you need to go down and maybe logos. Yeah. Background, origins of the term. Logos became a technical. Logos became a technical term in Western philosophy, beginning with
Heraclitus.
Heraclitus.
Yeah.
Where's Heraclitus?
Yeah, he's a Greek philosopher, I think.
Greek philosopher, okay, Heraclitus, who used the term for a principle of order and knowledge. Ancient Greek philosophers used the term in different ways. The sophists used the term to mean discourse. Aristotle applied the term to refer a reasoned discourse or the argument in the field of rhetoric, and considered it one of the three modes of persuasion, alongside ethos and pathos. Pythonist philosophers used the term to refer to dogmatic accounts of non-evident matters. The Stoics spoke of the logos spermatikos, the generative caption, the genetic principle of the universe, which foreshadows related concepts of Platonism.
So the concept of the word it was already used in 535, 475 BC.
Yeah.
It wasn't new to Christianity.
Yeah.
And this is what it means when they say it means discourse, because even when you read down the bottom, it says the Gospel of John identifies the Christian logos through which all things are made as divine theos.
Theos, yeah.
But theos is thought and wisdom.
Okay.
Which is associated also with deity, but it's the way they use the term.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ as the incarnate logos, early translation of the Greek New Testament, such as Jerome in the 4th century AD, were frustrated by the inaccuracy of any single Latin word to convey the meaning of the word logos, as used to describe Jesus Christ in the Gospel of John. A Vulgate Bible usage in the principle erat verbum was thus contained to use the perhaps inadequate noun verbum for word. So basically what they're saying is that the Christians had a problem with this word.
Yeah.
The logos of the thought.
Yeah.
You understand? But when we're talking about the soul, how we identify what the soul is, we identify the soul as it's associated with reason. One aspect of the soul. That's what they spoke about in the Republic.
Yeah.
So, have you got that Buddhist reference?
Let's see. Let me have a look.
So while you're looking for that, let me just read this
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
In the Republic, in Book 4, Socrates and Glaucon and Adamantis are attempting to answer whether the soul is one made of a part. Socrates states it is obvious that the same thing will never do or suffer opposite in the same respect in relation to the same thing and at the same time, so that ever we find these contradictions in the function of the mind, we shall know that it was not the same thing. Did I read that? Not the same thing, but a plurality. This is an example of Plato's principle of non-contradiction. For instance, it seems that given each person has only one soul, it should be impossible for a person to simultaneously desire something yet also at the very moment be adverse to the same thing, as
Yeah.
when one is attempted to commit a crime but also adverse to it. Both Socrates and Glaucon agrees that it should not be possible for the soul to be at the same time both in one state and its opposite. From this is follow that there must be at least two aspects to the soul, having named these as reason and appetite. Plato goes on to identify a third aspect, spirit, which is healthy psyche, ought to be aligned with reason.
That's interesting. Reason, appetite, and spirit. So that's basically Plato's translation to the three states.
Yeah, because they're saying you can't be. It's like what me and you was talking about when I'm saying the mind can't be in conflict.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? If I come
Yeah.
to you to go and rob a bank, you're just gonna go, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
deliberating.
So appetite can be used. It can be used as desire as well, isn't it? Appetite, a
That's
desire
correct.
to reason. Yeah. Reason. Yeah. Yeah. And okay. You said there was a link to Psyche, a goddess, earlier on. You said when you were talking
Yeah,
about the Logos, the Thymus, the Euros. You said there was a link from Euros to Psyche. Did you say?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't if it wasn't Eros, it was Cupid. Let me just look at. Let me just look it up. Right.
Mm.
Um, the aspect. Okay, the healthy aspect of Psyche. So Psyche is a Greek goddess who was so beautiful that the goddess was jealous of her. I remember going through this a few years ago. Let me see this. Psyche. Okay, Psyche. Cupid and Psyche. So it was Cupid.
Oh, Cupid. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you, I mean, I done this a few years ago, but
Yeah.
Cupid was in love with Psyche.
Okay. So the heart. So that could be symbolic as did Cupid represent the heart? The Eros, Cupid.
Yeah,
I know he's associated. Cupid's associated with love, the heart. I'm guessing.
that's correct.
Yeah. So that could be symbolic for Cupid, the heart in working in conjunction with the spirit. The mind, the psyche.
Well,
Right.
that's correct.
Yeah.
Because remember earlier they said that this in the stomach area is the spirit.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Do you understand? So and then psyche is your psyche. Where
It's a
that's why
psyche.
you get words like psychology
Yeah.
and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's dealing with the mind. And the
Yeah.
reason why she's beautiful is because the most valuable thing you have is the mind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the mind, they, in mysticism, they will say the mind is connected. The mind is the house of God,
Okay.
where your thoughts are processed. So
Yeah.
sometimes when they use these anthropomorphized figures like Psyche, and
Yeah.
then they give you the story, you don't
Yeah.
understand the stories. But what they're
Yeah.
trying to tell you is about the way
The
the
mind.
human
Yeah.
body functions.
Yeah. 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 It's very, very, very interesting. I found something on the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Kind of correlates with what we're talking about, but it's more about the process of death and how they look at death and the soul and the different states of death.
Okay.
Shall I share my screen?
Yeah.
So the Tibetan book. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah. So basically, in Buddhism, in the Tibetan book of the living and dying, they talk about 6 stages of death. The bardos, 6 bardos, means the between state. So it's the period between life and death. The period between life and death, which is, I guess, they probably some call it the abyss, some call it limbo. The state in before existence, and then there's that's called a Kiene, the Kene Bardo. Then there's the Milan Bardo, the period between sleeping and waking. The Samton Bardo is a trance, the period between meditation and awakening.
Hold on, I'm not sure why this is not sharing your screen. I'll click it up
Oh,
like a couple
no.
of times.
Okay.
Is it coming in now or something? Okay, it's up now. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Sorry, go over that.
yeah, and it says the third stage is the Shikhai Bardo, the moment of death. The Chonyid. Sorry, but my pronunciations are not accurate for those watching. Chonyid Bardo, the apparitions appear based on the soul's karma or peace of wrathful deities, and the Sidpa Bardo, the Bardo of rebirth. The soul sees visions of men and women that will be the soul's new parents. Then the soul is reborn in human form. Not only is the Tibetan book a guide for the afterlife, but it also gives instructions in removing the ego to experience love and happiness. When a person's consciousness isn't attached to the body, there comes an opportunity to liberate from the cycle of birth through meditation. I don't have my Tibetan book with me because I could probably it's at my other place, but I'm just getting just touching on different aspects. What are we talking about here? The moment of death, the stream. Let's look at birth again.
And this is from the Tibetan Book of the Dead, yeah?
Yeah. But it's basically a summarized breakdown of what it means.
But you can see why when we look at when we talk about desires,
yeah,
you can see why now most companies appeal to your desires.
yes, yeah, definitely, yeah,
Because desires ruin the soul.
desires in the soul, yeah. It's that carnal instinct, isn't it? That where drives us.
That's right.
So it says the moment of death, as mentioned, the moment of death is especially important, and according to Tibetan Buddhists, is not out of our control. Padasambhava describes preparations. Padasambhava was a Buddhist, almost like a shaman.
Okay.
Describes preparations a person can make to ease the transition. Reading the Buddhist sutras, giving away material possessions, and being relaxed in relationships are something you can do. The new reality. Next, the deceased are detached from their physical body. In this state,
sorry to cut you. Did he say, in preparation for death, you must give away everything? So
yes, yeah. So, in preparation, as mentioned before, the moment of death is especially important according to Tibetan Buddhism. So, reading from the Buddhist sutras, giving away material possessions and being relaxed in relationships are some you can do. There are also specific passages of a holy person or close caregiver reads at the moment of passing. So there's certain chants and mantras that they at the point of death or as you transition in Buddhism culture, they chant mantras like benza masidi you know what I mean? They hum kind of mantras that kind of raise your vibrations, and it's supposed to guide the soul.
So we find in most cultures then that most people believe in some form of afterlife.
Yeah.
But exactly. You see, the thing is, when we look at most of the cultures, the thing was to identify what the soul is.
Yeah.
So when Plato was using the analogy, they were breaking down the aspects of the soul.
Yeah.
Also, according to Hermes talks about the soul because he says at the birth of the soul,
Mhm.
meaning when the baby's born,
Yeah.
2 or more spirits, or what they call daimons, which you
Okay.
would call
Demon.
daimons attach
Diamond.
itself to the spirit.
Shall we have a look at see what they mean about these diamonds?
Yeah, daimons.
Elaborate. We can love if you can.
Yeah, let me spell the name out, please. It's DAIMON
DAIMON
E.
Daemons.
Daimon. This is where the Christian get the words demons from.
Okay, and they basically attach themselves to the soul. Yeah.
This is what some of
Yeah.
the texts are saying.
Okay. Diamonds. DIA or DA.
DAIMONES.
Diamonds. Diamonds. Oh, there. No, it's not coming up. It's coming up as diamond.
Yeah, you had it up the top there. I know I saw it at the
Oh,
top.
here we go. The spiritual meaning of diamonds. Okay.
Oh, is that diamonds?
Yeah, that's diamonds.
See,
Yeah.
diamonds come up, but it's like the word is that you have to type in like demon. Type in like demon.
Concept of demons. Okay.
Yeah, the meaning of demon or something like that will come up.
Yeah.
You see where it says diamonds there underneath there.
Daemon. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's have a look.
That's why in that movie he was called Damon. See?
Daemon.
Demon.
Yeah. More definition.
You can go to the Britannica on it, or you can just go into Wiki.
Yeah. So what is why my computer's acting mad? Hang on. My computer's running really slow. So, demon. Should we go to
Go
definition?
to Cambridge Dictionary. Or you could go to Wikipedia, quick research on it.
Right, demon.
I don't think that's giving you much. It's just giving you like definitions.
Yeah. What is a demon? Oh, let's go to the online. Should we go to etymology? Okay. Right. See, an evil spirit, malignant supernatural being, an incubus, a devil, and Latin for daemon, spirit, from Greek daimon, as you said earlier.
All right.
Deity, divine power, lesser god, guiding spirit.
Stop.
True to the, yeah.
So you see what does it read that bit again?
Guiding spirit.
Right.
Less, yeah. Divine
So-
power.
The Christianity, you see how they corrupted the word.
Yeah.
So when people are saying, oh, that person has a demon spirit, or they have this or they have that, but the word
Yeah.
actually doesn't mean that. What does it mean in Greek?
Yeah. In Greek, yeah, it means spirit, deity, divine power.
Right.
Could also
So-
mean guiding spirit or lesser god. Sometimes including souls of the dead.
But the spirit, you see, this when they say, oh, he's got an evil spirit, because according to some philosophers,
Yeah,
there's 2 souls they say that attach. This is
yeah,
what they're saying, right?
yeah.
2 souls that attach themselves to the spirit, to your soul at birth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two could be too agreeable, one could be agreeable, one could be evil. So sometimes in the movies you always see them saying there's a good angel on the right and there's a
Oh,
bad angel on the left.
yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the concept of the soul. So the
Yeah.
soul either chases its desires
Yeah.
or it become like psyche, because
Yeah.
psyche deals with reasoning
Reasoning, logic.
and logic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's associated with the gods,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
where you find
So
that most people in the society, they chase their lower,
desires,
as people
low.
would say, their lower vibration, but
Yeah.
which is really their desires
Or lower self.
or their lower self.
Mm. Mm.
You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
this is how we use, from our human experience, this
Yeah.
is how we kind of see
Yeah.
how the mind works in different human beings
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and where they're at on their journey and how they speak and how they conduct themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
what the Egyptians call ma'at.
Mahat. Okay.
So
Mahat refers to as
ma'at,
Mahat.
ma'at is like balance.
Mahat is balance. Yeah. Okay.
So
Mahat.
we're not saying that you have to be totally agreeable. It's
Yeah.
just that you have to know when to use that kind of energy.
Yeah.
But
So
when people talk about demons, how it was translated, let me share my screen again so I can show you this one.
so then we have to. So then good and evil are equal duality. Are part of the soul. That's the whole concept of Mahat is duality. No, could that be linked to that?
Yeah, well, they did talk about duality when they were talking about the soul earlier.
Yeah.
Remember when they were saying, "Oh, the soul has a dual nature," but then they
Yeah.
start saying it
Yeah.
might have a tree part to its nature because he also
Okay.
added wisdom.
Wisdom. Okay. Mm.
You understand? So
Yeah.
let me read this here.
I'll close mine.
Yeah. So can you see it?
Yeah. So
It says
etymology.
it says the ancient Greek word daemon denotes a spirit or divine power, much like the Latin genius or numen. So you
Oh,
see, in the
yeah.
Quran,
Yeah.
it says that Allah created the jinns before.
Yeah.
But what do you call jinn? Jinn is a genius.
Ah. Yeah. Mm.
Do you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Genie. Yeah. Genius. Genie. Yeah.
They're all the same. The jinn and the
Same
button,
way.
they
Yeah.
all have the same
Yeah.
story. They're trying to tell you about a divine
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
not the concept that you find in Christianity where, oh, Jesus cast out 7 demons out of a woman.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, yeah, demon, like people start believing in those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But it's written in Greek and the word is daimon. And as I'm showing you here, it means something. As we go on, it says genius or numen. A daimon most likely came from the Greek verb dystasia. My Greek is not that well. It means to divide or to distribute. The
Okay.
Greek concept of a daimon notably appears in the psychophysiological work of Plato,
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
where it describes the divine inspiration of Socrates. The original Greek word daimon does not carry the negative connotation initially understood by implementation of the Kohen or the Kohen. Daimon. Yeah, so the Kohen, who were they?
The Kohen.
Kohen, also known as the Hellenistic Greek. You see, this is in Alexandria. That's why you have Kohen priests.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you understand? So they're saying it doesn't have that same level. Later ascribed as any cognate word sharing the root. The Greek term do not have any cognation of evil or malevolence. In fact, which literally translate as good spiritedness.
Means happiness. Wow. Okay. So the whole connotation of the word demon, comes from a completely, so it's the complete opposite of what we are led to believe,
That's correct.
and it's linked, it's linked to almost like your divine uh, uh, your ability it's almost like a higher state of mind,
Yeah,
right? A higher state of mind and consciousness, a genius.
yeah.
Cultivating the genius in you, the genie, the jinn, cultivate the jinn in you, the
That's
fire.
right. But most Abrahamic religions
Yeah.
demonize it.
Well, it's funny because they say jinns in Islam. The jinn is made of fire,
That's correct.
fire,
That's correct.
light. You could say light.
That's correct.
Yeah. Mm,
But this is how they confuse you, because they make out like the jinns were evil.
mm, mm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you go back to the original Greek, they're saying these
Yeah.
things were born with you is the eternal. And that's why the Bible says
Yeah.
God is within you.
Yeah. Yeah. The kingdom of heaven is within you, within man.
That's right.
Mm,
So this goes back to some people saying ancestral worship.
mm, mm.
And some people saying, yeah, I hear God speaking to me, or the inner voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are the concepts that they were talking about. And this is how the Platonists, in particular Socrates, used to identify that every human being has a unique soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
we couldn't function otherwise. You see, motion's important,
Mm-hmm.
because if you have a desire to make money, say, for instance,
Yeah.
you're only getting a couple of hours sleep, and you hear people talk like that. Oh, the human body doesn't need much sleep because it's running on motion.
Yeah.
But any doctor will tell you that the human body needs 8 hours of sleep. But
Yeah.
because you're chasing your desires, the world makes you feel this is how you need to function.
Yeah.
You're on your way to death, because most people who functions like that, they don't
Yeah.
live.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
the whole concept of philosophy and science
Mm-hmm.
is how the human being should conduct himself, knowing that they have a soul, and then
Yeah.
they must seek the highest part of the soul, which is psyche, which
Psyche.
is reasoning.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Following
Yeah.
reasoning, we come to an understanding or an overstanding, and
Yeah.
then we move on to a higher level.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
your desires are different,
Yeah.
then the lower self, as we say,
The appetite.
the appetite,
Yeah.
only functions and follow the appetite. Now, in the world that we live in, it might seem great. You have a
Yeah.
new car, you have this, you have that, you have that.
The
But
gluttony.
gluttony.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that gluttony deals with the stomach.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because right down here, where the stomach is where they say the children live, because it deals with greed. Feed me.
Yeah. Childlike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the spirit though? The lower part of the spirit, because in between that we have the reasoning, then we have the appetite, we have the logos, the thymus is the appetite, and the euros is the erotic, the spirit energy. That is just solely the reproductive, or
the spirit is how you breathe.
the.
That's why I say to Christians when they say, "Oh, the Holy Spirit," I'm like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the word "spirit" in Latin just means spiritus, which means breath.
Yeah.
So,
Is there? Sorry. Yeah. Spirit,
so
breath.
if somebody suddenly dies or drowns, the first thing you try to do is get them to breathe again,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to initiate the fire.
Yeah.
Or if
Yeah.
you see somebody lying on the street, the first thing you kind of do is put your hands over their nostrils to see if they're breathing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So all of that is intricate part of the soul, but not a part of the eternal part of the soul, which is psyche.
Psyche. Okay, so psyche is the eternal part. Okay. Yeah. Is there a correlation? Is there a correlation here between the Holy Trinity that they speak of?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I just threw that one out there because we're talking about 3 parts.
That's right. But the way Christians would talk about the Holy Trinity, it doesn't teach you anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when they talk about the Holy Spirit and you say, okay, what is the Holy Spirit? They
Hmm.
never give you any answer. They just say, oh, you
Hmm.
haven't got the Spirit. But Spirit just means breath,
Yeah.
as I showed you here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what are you, but when you start asking them about, teach me about the soul, not even the Bible goes into that really.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just says the spirit wars against the flesh. But the way they use the words and the way we use them,
Yeah.
we try to make out like, oh well, that person dies, that person's gone to heaven. No, we
Hmm.
don't know that.
Hmm.
We're just guesstimating that after life, as some people say, energy can't be destroyed, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So therefore the soul part, which is your energy, that
Hmm.
can't be destroyed. So it must move on to another realm.
Yeah.
Scientists will say, well, energy can be destroyed.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then some people say, when you die, that's it. There is no afterlife. And I always ask the question, if there is no afterlife, and when you
Hmm.
die, that's it, what is
Hmm.
the point of being good?
Yeah. 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 But when they say, I mean, some Christians do still believe there is no afterlife. There's just death. But for well, specifically speaking, Jehovah's Witness will say that during Armageddon, the rapture, we will be resurrected and judged, and there is no heaven and hell.
Is that in the Bible?
No, not that I've seen. No,
Okay, so I don't need to speak
but
about
that's
that.
their interpretation. Yeah, yeah,
That's just your interpretation. Jesus never spoke about that.
yeah, yeah. So if they say there is no afterlife, then we have to look at where does the soul go? If the soul is just psychic, the soul is the height of the soul is psychic. Yeah, it's psychic energy. Would you say? Where does that energy go after death?
Well, there are philosophical arguments around where the soul goes.
Yeah,
If the soul is not developed, even in the Quran, they talk about the seven heavens.
yeah.
So, therefore, if the soul is not enlightened enough or
It,
didn't learn what it was supposed to learn, it doesn't occupy the highest parts of the heaven.
excellent. Yeah, yeah. Exactly what Buddhism says. But yeah,
It
Buddhism says
occupies the lower parts of the heaven,
lower
which,
part.
in
Yeah,
terms of the soul, is called is hell.
yeah. The lower dimensions of reality.
Yeah,
Where Buddhism even goes as far as to say if the soul doesn't reach a certain enlightenment or a certain vibration, i.e., which is why the Buddhist monks they say that you must give up all material, all attachment to material possession and all material worldly things and focus on spirit so you can transcend and it's
how old is that? How old is that document that you're reading from?
so the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying is let's have a look at the origins of the Tibetan book.
The reason why I'm asking that is because that's what
This is,
Jesus kind of said, right?
sorry?
The reason
Yeah.
I'm asking that is that what Jesus kind of said: give up everything and follow me.
I guess yeah, I believe so, yeah. So I'll share my screen with me. So the Tibetan book of the book was originally written in the 8th century CE, ostensibly by an ancient Buddhist teacher named Padma Sabhava. The book's original title is Bardo Todo, which is translated to liberation by hearing on the after death plane. I mean, this could be considered, the Buddhist Bible, the equivalent. Bardo Todo. It's based on the Tibetan book Orna Bardo Todo. Okay, so let's have a look at that. So Christianity predates the Tibetan Book of the Living and Dying, right?
Well, that's why I was asking for the date on it.
Yeah. I'm gonna look at Buddhism a bit. Let's look at the source of Buddhism.
Because the same concepts, like
Yeah.
what you're saying, can be found in like Christianity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Christians could easily say they copied
Yeah.
that from our text.
Yeah. So Buddhism, also known as Buddha Dharma and Dhammavinaya, is an Indian religion and philosophical tradition based on the teachings attributed to the Buddha. It originated in present-day North India as a Sarama movement in the 5th century BCE and gradually spread throughout much of Asia via the Silk Road. It is the world's 4th largest religion.
Okay, so it's older then.
It's older, yeah. It's older, predates Christianity. Yeah. Mm.
So they must have had.
Look, etymologies. So Buddhism is an Indian religion who lived in followers of Buddhism, called Buddhist in English, referred to as this. Also, scholar Richard Cohen asserts that the term. Okay.
What's that?
So it says Buddhism is an Indian religion. The Buddha awakened one, a Samana who lived in South Asia 6th or 5th century BC. Yeah, the reason why I just draw this comparison because a lot of this sounds a lot like
They're all the same in the sense of the
Yeah.
teachings.
yeah,
People got the teachings by trading, interacting.
yeah,
So you find them in a lot of documents.
yeah,
But some
Yeah.
secret documents regarding the soul and so forth, you won't find
Yeah.
explained.
yeah. I see what my mouse says here. Samsara in Buddhism is considered to be dukkha, unsatisfactory and painful, perpetuated by desire and avidya, ignorance, and resulting in karma.
You see that?
Yeah,
So the
Yeah.
things that we're talking about, desires,
yeah,
and as I was explaining, what's the result? Ignorance.
yeah,
And then they said it results in karma because it affects the soul.
yeah. The ignorance aspect of soul. Yeah, desire and avida. Avida in Buddhist literature is commonly translated as ignorance. The concept refers to ignorance or misconceptions about the nature of metaphysical reality, in particular about the impermanence and anatta doctrines about reality. Yeah, yeah. So all of these religions are speaking about reaching a state of mind,
Literally.
a higher state of mind and awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
They're literally telling you, like, I mean, a lot of I could show documents where a lot of them were saying
yeah,
once you become almost godlike,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
not much documents or things that people can fool you with. I think that was in Plutarch,
yeah,
if
yeah,
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
all of those books are talking about the higher mind,
yeah,
how you reason, what you take in, what you learn.
yeah,
Because it's a growth for the soul.
yeah, yeah,
But if all we're doing is chasing desires like Gucci,
yeah,
and that's why most of the music and most of the commercials that we see is geared to your desires. That means
Yeah.
you will never grow spiritually because you
spiritually.
haven't controlled your desires.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Excellent. Yeah,
And that's why even some in the Indian document you'll find, I can't remember what his name is, but he used to like live in a cave, and he used to live in a cave for years
Yeah,
because he had no desires. And the cynics and the stoics, that's how they used to live as well. Some of them.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they even put the sun around Jesus's head,
Of course,
which represents, enlightened.
that's right.
And the crucifixion symbol almost shows you that it's the death of the mind. You know,
It could be.
mm,
But some people have their, I think it was it like, look at Uzi has like the cross right in his forehead,
yeah, 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 yeah.
which is X marks the spot. So
Hmm.
when they
Hmm.
talk about the soul in philosophy, it was
Hmm.
always to do with reasoning. That's why when you
Yeah,
read Plato,
yeah.
Plato's all about reasoning
Reasoning.
and
Yeah,
rhetoric. It's an art. It was called
yeah,
the liberal art.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
People were all training that, and when you're training those kind of things, you don't
yeah,
become a worker, you become a
yeah.
leader.
Leader. Yeah. Well, what we're doing now to me is reasoning.
That's right.
You know, you're exercising the mind, opening up the mind
That's correct.
to more possibilities, and from that you can almost change your reality.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah. It's your thoughts that change your reality.
yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah,
understand?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, if you believe, whatever you believe will be your reality.
That's correct.
Whatever your mind tells you, if you think somewhere's haunted or there's ghosts or there's demons, you know, your mind will or your mind will show you that. So everyone is almost experiencing their own reality, a different reality from the next man. You know, in his reality, maybe they are demons because his mind is he's trained his mind to that is he's created that reality for himself.
That's it. But you see, once you start talking down that line about demons and so forth,
Mhm.
and you start saying, well, there are bad demons. I mean, who created the bad demons? Was it God?
Yeah, yeah. Or was it you?
Yeah. And how did they attach ourselves to the soul? Because if they are not attaching themselves to the soul, as the philosophers were saying, then how do you animate that which you live in, which is the body? How do you animate the body? Because on death, there is no life in the body.
Yeah,
So they say the soul has departed. It's not animated no more.
yeah,
So
yeah,
the body lies there looking disgusting. These are what the
yeah,
philosophers were talking about,
yeah, 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 yeah,
saying
yeah,
that the body is not a reality because the body, once you're born, you're decaying.
yeah,
Life and decay.
yeah,
Everything in this on this planet does it.
yeah,
You buy
yeah,
a new car today, brand new,
yeah.
5 years, it's decaying.
It's decaying. Yeah, it's lost the spirit.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah,
So if you use your desires throughout your life, chasing these things all the time,
yeah,
you don't know when you're going to depart, but your total
yeah,
desires is just based on motion.
yeah, yeah,
But in reality, you've never contacted the higher self, which is the
yeah,
psychic.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And people who do that, when they hear people like myself speaking like
Mm,
thus, they're the same ones quick to run you down, right? Because
yeah.
desire breeds ignorance.
Desire breeds ignorance. Yeah, because people will blindly defend and fight for their desires.
That's right.
Yeah, just like in the Matrix, when the man tries to, you know, he rather than face reality that you're in a Matrix, one of the guys on Morpheus's ship, he's well, Morpheus said, you know, some are ready to be awakened, unplugged, some are not, and they will blindly defend. They will blindly defend their false reality
That's right.
because it feeds their desires.
That's right.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah.
remember, the guy who sold them out. I can't remember what his name is.
The bald guy.
Yeah.
He he chose to stay plugged in, didn't he?
No, who are you talking about?
In the Matrix.
No, the one who sold them out. He wanted to be. Yeah, he wanted to stay. What?
He wanted to stay.
Plugged in.
He made a deal with the agent, didn't he? And
Yeah, that right.
yeah,
But what was the deal he made with the agent?
that they'll plug him back in and make him forget.
Yeah, but what did he ask for?
Oh, he asked for riches. Make him rich,
And he
make his
wanted to be someone famous, right?
someone
Like an
famous.
actor or something like that.
Yeah,
That's desires.
that's desires. Yeah, yeah,
So that's really showing you how the soul has fallen back into
yeah,
desires.
yeah, yeah.
And those who wish to stay unplugged. I mean, it's symbolic.
It's symbolic. It's
But
symbolic.
at the same time, this is how humans are.
It's
You
not even
know, you have friends that are their desires, their function is totally on money.
yeah, yeah. I've even got friends that are, they're still, you know, they talk about God, they go to the mosque, they go to the church, but yet they're still out there contradicting themselves and drinking, partying, doing things that go completely against what they're the books, the doctrines that they're supposedly worse,
Because they
supposedly
don't follow the
faithful.
laws. They can't
Yeah,
follow the laws in the
yeah.
books because the laws are too hard for them to follow.
But
So
would
you
you
might go, sorry, go on.
go on, no, go on, be saying.
So you might go to worship on a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yeah, yeah,
It doesn't mean that because you go to these places and you worship, it makes you a better
yeah,
human being.
yeah. Okay, my next question is: if all these if all these belief systems point to the same, are talking about the soul, then if we were to follow the commandments properly as they are written in the Bible and the Abrahamic religions, would that lead to enlightenment? Are all of those belief systems saying if you live by this book? This is why I say in the Bible, okay, if we look at it from a fairy tale perspective, yes, but if we follow it and diligently, will we still achieve that state of higher self?
No, because it doesn't teach you that.
Mm,
And what are you following? Name me
mm.
some of the examples that you're following.
Well, I mean,
Name me some of the examples that
mm,
Jesus laid down that you should follow that would bring you eternal life.
mm. But
Because when
then,
he was crucified,
mm,
I don't mean to cut you. When he was crucified, there
mm,
was two thieves, even though
mm,
there's two different stories about the two thieves that was on his left and his right. It
yeah,
goes back to what we were talking about with the soul.
yeah,
The other thief was mocking him in one
yeah,
story. In one story, both of the thieves were mocking him. And in the
mm,
other story, I think it was the thief on the right hand side that was saying,
mm,
this man has done nothing. And then he
mm,
turned to Jesus and said, please, my master, if um take me with you or something like that, bring me into your kingdom. And Jesus said, believe me, this day
mm,
you'll be in my kingdom.
mm,
So you
mm,
see, in heaven, anyone can make it. You can be a thief, you can be a rapist,
mm.
and you can just go into a boot and say, can God forgive me for my crimes? And you will make it to heaven.
Yeah, yeah,
It's that easy, but it's an
yeah,
illusion.
yeah,
It's an illusion that most human beings here live with.
yeah.
Because every time you go to a funeral, you would know this person is a rapist or he never lived a good life, but you're saying today he's with God in heaven.
Mm, mm.
So it seems like God just accepts all sorts of. I mean, it's asinine. It's fallacious.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
That's not what philosophy teaches you.
yeah, yeah,
You don't sin against God. You sin against your own soul.
yeah, yeah,
Do you understand? You
yeah.
created the own. You created your
You
own
create
evil by your decisions and your
your
thoughts.
decisions, yeah. So heaven and hell is a state. It's a state of being. You create your own heaven and hell.
That's correct.
Mm.
You
And
know,
we know
if
that.
you want to go out there and say, you know what, my friends told me that I can join this gang. Yeah,
Mm,
it's a gang, and then you go
mm,
into this gang, you join the gang, and the gang's like, yeah, this is what we do. We kill,
mm,
we do that. This is our corner. Straight
mm.
away, you know that if anything happened to you, don't blame God for it
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you made that decision.
yeah, yeah,
Where in Christianity and some of these religions, it's almost God
yeah,
is to blame for everything
yeah, yeah.
because He speaks
Or the
and
devil.
or the devil,
Yeah, yeah,
which in fact is this is mythos.
yeah, yeah. Or probably metaphors for. I've always thought that the devil and God and devil, like you said earlier about the demon, the duality of the devil on your shoulder and the God, are just your lower self and higher self. The devil is a metaphor or an analogy for desire.
The devil, when you talk about the devil,
Mm,
as I said before, the
mm,
devil make an appearance in the Garden of Eden.
yeah,
After that, you don't see him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't hear from him. Yeah,
You don't hear from him.
yeah,
And God created the devil, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Was this the same devil that tempted Job?
yeah.
Was it the same one?
Was it the same one that tempted Job?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently so. Yes, because
Who
he
did?
walked.
Who
Because
sent him to tempt Job?
well, I think the devil was walking amongst as a man in human form and trying to. And God asked him, you know, what are you doing? What are you doing down there, walking amongst men? And the devil replied, I'm here to, you know, see if I can create some drama, create some mischief. And then God said, go ahead and test Job.
I don't really think that's how it went. Still, I think that might be two different verses
Okay.
because the devil, when he was cursed in the garden,
Mm.
what was the curse?
That he'll crawl on his belly
For well, eternity.
for eternity. But there is a passage in the Bible where he's walking. I'll try
Right.
and find it.
Yeah, I know that because he walked
Yeah.
into the house of
Yeah.
the council where God was,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
God said to him, "Where have thou been?" And he said, "Walking to and fro from the earth."
Yeah. Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
therefore, the curse that God cursed him in the garden was
Yeah.
as a snake, and
Yeah.
thou should go under. So how did he change back?
How do you change back if you cursed him?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. Good question.
that's why the stories are fallacious because
Yeah.
one minute he's a snake and the next minute he's walking amongst God, and God doesn't even know where he is. He had to ask him,
You have to
"Where are
ask
you
him.
coming from?"
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even used him to tempt one of his most faithful, who was Job. Literally killed off his whole family.
Yeah. 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 Just tempt his fate. His
Yeah.
fate.
Well, that wasn't the devil's fault.
Test
The
his
devil
faith.
was under command
Yeah.
by God to do
By
that.
God. Yeah. So that was wicked.
Well, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, my reasoning,
Do you understand what I'm saying?
reasoning tells me that that's an evil deed.
Can't you see that? So they're just not. I mean, they're so much tied up into their scholars, but I'm not even. I'm just tied up in the stories because the stories don't make sense.
Yeah. But I've detached myself from the stories. I've detached myself from looking at the stories as they're written. Like I said before, I think I always try to decode the story and look at it from a what's the word? A metaphor that they try and tell you, you know, and look at the deeper meaning behind it. Because I feel that the code, as we said, you know, these things are encoded into the scriptures in Christianity, as what we was talking about, the logos, the thymos, the euros, all of that is, you know, in Greek mythology, they're all tied into Christianity. So if we read between the lines, you know, just like they probably teach them how to read between the lines in the mystic schools, we'll see the real meaning.
That's correct.
You know, it's just that it's the way we are interpreting the Bible that is the problem.
That's correct.
The truth is in there.
Everyone interpret the Bible how they feel.
Yeah.
Because the book is ambiguous.
Yeah. It's written very skillfully, actually.
Yes, that's correct.
Very
But
skillfully.
it's how you interpret the Bible.
Yeah.
So I'll go to one Christian, there's 7 days. I'll go to a Pentecostal. They all have a different interpretation of the same script.
Yeah.
And you can do that for years and years and years.
Hence why you got. Yeah. Sorry, go on. Yeah.
And you can only use a scientific method to find out. Well, a scientific approach to find out that a lot of these things that they're talking about didn't exist because we have no archaeological evidence or no primary sources.
Yeah. Yeah. And hence why we got so much different sections of Christianity. You know, I think there's about how many different types of there's so many.
That's correct.
Different, there's so many different cults of Christianity, but you're reading the same book. So what do you disagree on? And they will argue and argue and argue.
That's right.
So
it's
which
not
one?
just now they're doing it. They've been doing it from like the 1st century onwards. Who was chosen and who wasn't chosen? God chose them. This God didn't choose them. But when you read the text itself, when you read the Bible itself, like you might say, yeah, there's truth within it, and I wouldn't disagree with that. But if I start saying to you, where is the truth? because we
Well,
know that there's no archaeological evidence for Abraham.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah,
Noah. There's so many flood stories. I can type them up right now in front of your face.
yeah.
So what do we have archaeological evidence for regarding the Bible?
Mm,
It's a hodgepodge of different culture and
yeah,
different literature that you're reading.
yeah. So then we can't take we can't take any of the characters literally or seriously because there's no evidence of the authors
That's
or
right.
or the character's existence. So therefore all I can when I read the Bible, for my reasoning tells me when I read the Bible, disregard the characters that they're talking about and don't see and look more towards the teachings or look at the uh, look at the outcomes of the different scenarios in the Bible, because that is where for me that's where that's where the fruit bear. That's where you will get the real. A bit lost for words here. If you want to get any type of enlightenment from the Bible, I would say probably look more at the the teachings behind the reasoning behind the stories. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Rather than look at the characters, rather than look at the characters and try to use it as a history book and take it literally as a reference point for history, it's more about the different ways that you can reach a high state of consciousness.
Yeah, but what teachings in there gives you that?
Well, I mean, for one, the obvious one, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt, and fasting and through.
Yeah, but so are you saying then until Moses came, who we don't have no evidence for anyway, until Moses came, there was no other law? That wasn't law before?
Oh, I'm pretty sure there was. I'm pretty sure you can show me some.
Yeah, I mean, the Babylonians had laws.
Yeah.
The Greeks had laws. And Ezra left Babylon and brought the book of laws back into what they call Jerusalem today. So there was already laws.
What about the Sumerian text?
Same thing.
The Sumerian, what are Sumerian tablets? Do they predate Christianity? They do, don't they?
Yeah, of course.
They do. Because I know there's a lot of similarities in the Sumerian text.
Yeah.
But Sumerian text goes a bit more into the Anunnaki, the Elohim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Anunnaki, because I don't think the Anunnaki is the Elohim.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, because it's not the same language.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
You're talking about Sumeria. When you talk about Elohim, you're talking about Hebrew.
Yeah.
But the concept of the Anunnaki coming down and the Elohim is the same. You understand? So that's why most people refer Anunnaki to the Elohim, if you wanna look on it like that. So
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would like to explore a bit more on, I know we're talking about Christianity, we're talking about Christianity a lot, but going forward, I would like to touch on these deities or these, the Anunnaki in the Sumerian text a bit more. If not in this podcast, another one. But yeah, I mean,
what do you want to know? Who the Anunnaki are?
Yeah, I mean, this Enki character, this Enki and Enlil and Anu, I'd like to know a bit more about that.
Okay, there's books you can read on that. 12 Planet by Sakurai Citrin.
Sakurai Citrin, yes, I think I've heard. Yeah, and Chariots
in the 90s.
I think I read one of his. Is it Chariots of the Gods? Oh no, that's by Eric von Dykenen. That's by Eric von Dykenen. Chariots of the Gods.
Yeah. Sakurai Citrin wrote the 12 Planets. I've got a few.
12 Planets. Yeah. Sakurai Citrin. Yeah, I know. I've heard of him. Yeah, Sakurai Citrin. Yeah.
where you find all of that story with Marduk, Tammuz, Enki, Enlil, Tammuz,
Yeah.
Anu,
And
Alalu.
he talks about Nibiru, isn't it? The
Yeah, it
planet.
talks about Nibiru or the
Nibiru.
mothership.
Yeah,
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 the Nation of Islam talk about the mothership too, correct?
yeah. That'd be a good topic to talk about. As soon as we talk about UFOs, we should have spoken that the other day. Really. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So going back to the soul, then so we understand that the soul. So a brief summary: the soul consists of three parts, according to Greek mythology.
And
Well,
according to some, well, what people will call the Hermetica,
the Hermetica.
yeah, which is Thoth, and
Thoth. Yeah.
who they call today Hermes, and who most people
Hermes.
know as Hermas, who is
Hermes.
the
Yeah.
bags that the girls like
Yeah.
Hermes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
taken from that, and they also have their version of the daimons, even though
Yeah.
they were written in Greek
Yeah.
Strabados, and
Yeah.
it talks about how the souls came here.
Yeah.
But most people don't. Most people say the devil was kicked out of heaven, correct?
Yeah.
Then how comes you're here? Are you in heaven?
Yeah. Shall we touch on that? Have you got a slide for that? How the souls came here?
You know what? I've got the book.
Yeah.
I haven't typed it up or nothing like that, and
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't think you can find it online.
Okay.
But I've
Okay.
got the book in front of me. But the
Yeah.
book is where's my other one? It's called the Hermetica.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I haven't got let me see if I've got things typed up. I don't think I've typed up too much because sometimes it takes a lot to type it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hold on, let me see.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those of you watching, and my wife has just walked in, we've been talking about the what is the soul, so it consists of three parts: the logos, which is the psyche, reasoning; thymos in Greek mythology, which represents the appetite, desire; and eros, the spirit, the erotic life energy. Eros in Greek mythology was associated with the life energy, erotic. Cupid as well is associated with Eros, isn't he? See,
Don't hold me on that. I'd have to go
Mm.
back in my Greek note. I know that Eros was
Eros,
the god of love.
god of
So I
love.
think sometimes they used to associate um what's the other one called?
Thymos.
No, Eros and the other one with the arrow, Cupid.
Cupid and Eros are associated. Oh, so they used to. Okay, so there's some correlation there between those two deities.
Yeah, because Cupid shots his arrow and everyone falls in love,
Everyone else.
correct?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And Eros is known as the god of love.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. And the whole concept of demons, i.e., daimon, is associated with what the Mahat speaks about that as well. Balance.
Yeah, because Socrates, if you read the Republic,
Yeah.
Socrates used to have they when I used to read it, I'm thinking to myself, he said he had a personal demon that used to follow him.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So me reading it back then, I'm thinking to myself, oh, this guy had a demon that follows him. But
Yeah.
when you start looking into the language and what they were talking
Language.
about, they
Yeah.
were talking about the higher mind.
Higher mind. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like if somebody say to you, yo,
Mm.
let's go and rob a bank, it's almost like your psyche would jump in and go, you might need to sit down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't tell you what to do, it guides you.
It guides you. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why people always say, oh, my mind was saying, because they don't understand
Yeah.
the
And they
three
say,
part series
yeah,
of the soul.
or they say my demons got the better of me, and I took this drug,
There you
or
go.
or I went, my demons. This guy's got demons, or this woman's got demons. That's why he acts like that. He's got demons.
That's
You
right.
know, his reasonings. He's driven his mind. He's got his mind is talking to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But they're not really saying nothing when they say that to you. That's why I said you're not really teaching me anything
yeah,
because you're associating demons with something bad. But when we
yeah,
just read the definition, it wasn't so.
No, no. Mhm.
You understand? So,
Yeah.
hold on, let me share this with you because I think this is on my slide. This is when I was talking about the virgin birth, where Christianity copied the virgin birth from. I don't know why my slide is taking so long to come up.
Wow.
Okay, can you see that? Can you see that, Mark?
Let's have a look.
I can't hear you, bro.
Sorry, Rich. Yeah. So, yeah,
Oh,
Euros. Can you hear me?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Euros pouring golden rain on Danae. Yeah. Plate of Euros. Okay. Was the daughter and the only child of King
This is
Acris.
what I was talking about the other day when I was mentioning the virgin birth of Danae.
Yeah. Uh huh.
This is where they say that they copied the virgin birth from.
Ah.
But who poured golden rain on her? You can see that with
See
the
the
green
rain.
dot. Yeah?
See some rain. Yeah. Golden rain.
That was Eros.
Ah.
And here's
Oh,
a better
that's
picture
Euros. Okay. Mm-hmm.
of him pouring golden rain down Danae. Yeah,
Ah.
well, that's not really what I want
And
to show.
Euros is associated with life energy. Life energy.
That's correct.
So he was pouring golden rain onto her. So the golden rain is symbolic of, you can say, semen. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course. That's why
Because
it's golden, correct?
yeah, if it's associated with erotic, Eros is associated with life. And okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Once you get an understanding of the deities and what they mean, it becomes quite clear when the metaphors can become clear.
Yeah.
Mm,
So in
yeah.
this, Danae, she was childless,
Hmm.
and basically the king Acrisius. This
Hmm.
is an Ethiopian story. He
Yeah.
went to the because he didn't have no kids. He went to
Mhm.
the sage, and she
Yeah.
told him that he's not going to have any kids. And a matter of fact, his grandchild is going to come up and kill him.
Okay.
So he locked up Danae in a tower so
Hmm.
no man could get to her. So if no man have sex with her, that means his grandchild can't be born.
Okay.
But Zeus poured down golden rain upon her because he liked her, and she became pregnant.
Ah.
Hence
Ah.
the golden birth. And Celsus told us in his work,
Mhm.
this is where the Christianity stole the concept of the virgin birth.
Of the Immaculate Conception.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we go down, as you was talking about Hermes, here's Hermes.
Yeah. Hmm.
What do they call him? As a shepherd god. Can you see him with the lamb around his head?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It says
Yeah.
Hermes was known as a patron god of
Mhm.
flocks, herbs,
Okay.
and shepherds, an
Yeah.
attribute possibly tied to his early origin as an
Mhm.
aspect of Pan.
Mhm.
That's the first symbol you get sometimes on the keyboard, right? Pan.
Yeah.
In
Hmm.
Boeotia, Hermes was worshipped for having saved the town from a plague by carrying a ram or a half around the city walls. A yearly festival commemorates this event during the lamb would be
Hmm.
carried around the city by the most handsome boy and then
Hmm.
sacrificed.
Okay. Hmm.
So these are traditions what we find way before Christianity.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I see it. Yeah.
and just let me just read this last one where it says in green here where it says their conduct could not escape the eyes of the Lord for of all things. He minded to punish them and to prepare for them hard bounds. The ruler of the master. Hold on, did I read this one before? Let me read this one. Okay, so when you can read right here, it says uh, the shepherd god carrying a lamb, blah, blah, blah. And then it says here, the good shepherd had an influence on early Christianity, specifically in the description of Christ as the good shepherd in the Gospel of John. So
Okay.
Jesus, known as the good shepherd, they say that was a title that was also given to Hermes.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, if you
Hmm.
can see the date down here, the Greek original from 5th century BCE.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this date predates Christianity by nearly 400, 500 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we go down here, it states, said Hermes, he spoke to this wise, because Hermes is speaking to his son, O soul of my soul, holy thought of my thought, how long shall early nature remain sad? This is before the creation of the world.
Okay.
So the world was created, but there was no one to see it. This story goes in deep, so I'm not really going to go into it because it goes into deep, but that's when he was talking to his son about how things were created.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we had all of these early stories before
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
had your Bible and Christianity.
Yeah. 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 I
You
see it.
understand?
Yeah. It's there in plain sight. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, so
But that's the thing. Having these conversations with someone that is Christian, you'd have to have a lot of extensive knowledge to show them these correlations. I see Atom Ra. Atom. I saw something there related to Atom. Is that the same as Adam? Atom?
some people try to make that analogy, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't really, because it's linguistically challenging to say
Mm.
that,
Okay.
because you have to know the Medanetta, the language that the Egyptians spoke, is, even
Okay.
though Hebrew is a derivative of it, it doesn't necessarily mean that.
Mhm.
But here, what I'm showing you is a picture of the Wane of the Heart scene. It's an Egyptian story. Can you see the people them sitting up at the top? The people who sitting at the top, they're judges.
Yeah. Ah, okay.
And these two here, they have reached the underworld. They're in the afterlife. So
Ah, okay.
now their heart is being weighed on the
Wait.
scale of Ma'at,
Yeah.
but their heart is being weighed against a feather. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And then if this, can you see this beast looking thing here, like a pig and a
Yeah.
lion?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
If your heart is seen heavier than the feather, you're eaten. He eats your heart. Maybe
Put it in your
so.
heart.
And then you go into right underneath, there was like a lake of fire. And this is where all the concepts are coming from.
Okay.
But if your heart was lighter than the feather, then you make it through to the underworld. You make it
Okay.
through to heaven, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this person recording here
Oh,
is called
yeah.
Thoth. Can you see
And
the
that's
person recording your deeds?
yeah, and that's Anubis. Anubis is Wayne, the heart,
Yeah,
right?
that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is Thoth, who's taken down the deeds of the dead.
Ah, I see.
So in the Bible, when it talks about your name would be written in the book of life, these are where the concepts are coming from.
Yeah. I didn't know Thoth was an underworld deity. I thought Anubis was the underworld deity.
No,
Yeah.
these are not the underworld. This is when you're passing through the
Oh, you're
duat.
passing through it. Oh, okay.
You're being judged. But if your heart is heavier than the feather,
hmm
you would go into what they call the underworld.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
says it down here, the Papyrus of Nefer,
Yeah.
1275 BCE, depict the jackal-headed Anubis weighing a heart against the feather of truth on the
Yeah.
scale of Ma'at, while
Yeah.
Ibis heard Thoth records the result. Having a
Yeah.
heart equal to the weight of the feather allows passengers to the
hmm
afterlife, whereas an imbalance results in a meal for Amit, the children of crocodile, lion, and hippopotamus. So if
Okay.
your heart is heavier than the feather, this is a symbolic meaning you haven't made it through to the afterlife.
Yeah. Where is that? I've heard heart is that in Islam? They say your heart is weighted in a feather. I've heard that in other cultures.
I only know about it in Egypt, to be honest.
Mm. Mm. Your heart is weighed against a feather. So
Yeah,
if your heart, so basically, if you're living too much through if you've lived through your heart, could that be if you live through your desires?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's not really saying because you live like that, it's a sin.
mm, mm,
Do you understand? Like
yeah,
Christianity tried to show you, it just says that you're comfortable living like that. But then if you're comfortable
yeah,
living like that, you must expect the results.
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Do you understand?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
hmm yeah, yeah. So I've got a better understanding of the soul, you know. 'Cause it's funny because in psychology, in science, I studied A-level psychology, and
Okay.
I think Sigmund Freud. I think
Okay.
the closest
Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund Freud, yeah,
Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund, SIG.
No, Sickman Freud.
Oh, is that way? Oh, is that way? Oh, sorry. Okay, that's how you pronounce it. That's how you
No,
pronounce
that's how I call him. Sickman Freud.
Sick man.
Yeah.
Sick man. I know his teachers were sick man. You know, yeah, but I don't know. I think he referred to the super ego.
Yeah.
As far as he got, which is the subconscious, and I think that's where it stops. He did, and a lot of people, especially in the spiritual people that are on the spiritual side, don't agree with psychology because they said man stops there and says everything's in the mind, and there's the ego, the super ego, which is the subconscious, and everything is driven by the super ego, the subconscious, which I believe. But I see how when you put it like this, that the soul is the higher self is all in the mind. It kind of does correlate with Sigmund Freud, sick man, Freud's theory that
Yeah, because he made a lot of references to certain things, and the references that Freud was making was basically showing you the alternative view of it
yeah,
and why they would actually give you these mythologies to follow.
okay,
Like when Zeus' father wanted to kill him, right? Because Zeus was going to come up to rule him, and his mother had to hide him in a cave. The cave was called Ida, and when he grew up, he came and he castrated his father.
okay,
So when Sigmund Freud was making the analogy, he was saying because it's like the Oedipus effect. It's like young boys would grow up to fall in love with their mother.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
therefore, that was a story to frighten them to say if that occurred, they would be castrated. Something to down that line.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? But all of his analogies were based on I don't know where he got them from, to be honest with you.
It could be classed as a pseudo, isn't it? Really?
Well, I wouldn't say he's fully pseudo, but just his interpretations of the text.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, some young boys growing up and falling in love with their mother. Like,
isn't that pseudo?
Which boys are you talking about? Like,
Isn't that pseudo? That's a pseudo. Though. That's your subjective opinion. There's no scientific proof for that, really.
Well, there were stories in it. So there were stories in ancient times. So obviously some things like that must have been happening.
Yeah.
Why they say those things. Because Celsus told you that the Christians used to have a festival that they used to keep.
Yeah.
And when they used to keep this festival, all families used to come out, eat, drink, and at the end of the night, they used to tie a dog onto the light posts. And then they used to whip the dog, and then the dog would run and smash the light post, and then everyone would be in darkness, and then anything goes.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah. So they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, anything goes. So you don't know who you're touching in the darkness. It could be your sister, your grandma, your mom. You don't know.
You don't know. Yeah. What kind of madness is that?
There you go.
Sorry, elaborate on that ritual, or what we're talking about. What was it called? Sorry. Oh yeah, that's
in Celsus's work.
In Celsus.
Yeah, he told you about customs the Christians used to have, and that was one of their festivals.
Okay.
And they even went through other grosser things, like when a woman was seeing her on her month or meses, as they say.
Yeah.
They used to take the blood of the cross, hold it up to the sky, and say, "This is the blood of Jesus or Christ," and then they eat it or drink it.
Yeah.
So they used to have some rituals. It was. I think Celsus ended by saying it was an affront to Rome. Some of the rituals that they have, and one other one that he wrote in there. And I know this. When he told this story, he said this would make you shudder.
Yeah.
He said what it would do when someone's been initiated, I suppose, being initiated into Christianity, they would blindfold the person, bring the person to sit down, and they would tie up a baby in a bag Are you listening to what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm listening.
They would put the baby down in the bag in front of the person, and the person must punch it, but the person don't know what's in the bag
Oh my
because he's been
goodness.
initiated, and he will punch the bag, punch the bag, punch the bag until the baby stops screaming, and then afterwards they would lift up the blindfold, and they would see the baby there dead, and they would rip. And when he said this, he said, "I shudder to tell you this." They
Yeah.
would rip the baby from limbs to limbs and drink and eat its blood. Christians don't want to talk about what Celsus was talking about, what their rituals were. This is
Yeah.
why when you was talking to me about the
Yeah.
eating of the flesh and the drinking of the blood, I'm like, that's what it's to do with. Like, why do I need to eat your flesh and drink your blood?
And God knows, God forbid, they're probably practicing these rituals today.
That's correct. And that is why would it, when you say to people are like, is that true? And I'm like, well, haven't you read the Bible?
Mm.
They do that right in the Bible too.
Mm.
You understand? So
Yeah.
those are some of the customs they would have. That's why I say to people, read it.
Yeah.
So when I
Yeah.
bring up certain books, certain people, they shudder because they're not expecting you to know those books.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand? And the things that they were doing as what they call ritual or early Christianity.
Yeah. 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 It's crazy. It's crazy. Disturbing. Very disturbing.
Yeah,
Christianity's history is dark. You know.
for sure.
I asked a lot of Irish people, why do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day? You know, if you knew what your ancestors went through,
Yeah.
you know, by the hand of the Christian church. You know, St. Christopher, you know, they butchered so many
Yeah.
to build churches, and you guys go out there and celebrate St. Patrick's Day. You know,
Well, St. Patrick's Day was about killing off your ancestors.
yeah, basically, yeah. And they got you here celebrating it. Mm.
That's how stupid we've become.
Yeah, and they don't. And if you tell them that, they get angry
That's right.
because they want to drink their Guinness. They want to drink their 6 pints of Guinness and party and think that that's something patriotic. But you're partaking in rituals, because that's what I call them, rituals. You know what I mean? That, and you don't even know what you're giving, what you're celebrating. You know?
Well, why does every time they're celebrating it has to do with drink and getting drunk?
Yeah, because i.e. stupidity.
Anything spiritual has to do with getting drunk and just having a hangover. What's that got to do with anything?
Yeah. Well, they're drinking spirits, isn't it?
Right.
Spirits and alcohol.
That's right. And gin. Remember?
And gin, yes, gin. Yeah, yeah. It's all in the words, isn't it? The word, the language tells you, it speaks to you. If you really know what it's there in plain sight.
That's why they call language spells.
Yeah, spellings. Yeah, yeah.
You understand? Because the English language is just a made up language. It's a bastard language made up of several different cultures.
Yeah, yeah,
There ain't nothing posh or unique about it.
yeah, 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 yeah. I was thinking a good topic to touch on, the whole concept of magic and juju
Whoa.
and voodoo, and if that exists, maybe the next we can look at practices of ancient practices of magic and juju, and what is magic and what you know, or we could talk about the afterlife.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
either one, I'm all right.
yeah. Yeah, that's eye-opening talk.
Yeah, just bit by bit we get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we know what the soul is now. Well, we know what it means.
Yeah, we could go deeper. Like I said, I've got my book here in front of me. I just don't really.
Does it prove the existence of the soul, though?
Say that again?
What we've spoken about, does it still prove the existence? Does it really prove the existence of the soul, though? Or are we just looking at the concept of it?
Well, how I see it is this:
Yeah.
what drives us
Desire.
What makes us alive is what I'm saying. As
Yeah.
apart from what
It's hard.
kills us.
I mean, it's hard to put into words. Life, desire, need, a need for existence, purpose. Purpose. Would you say purpose? No, because not everyone has a purpose. Not everyone has well, everyone has a purpose, but yeah, not everyone is aware of their purpose.
Well, we know for sure that people, we're saying that do people have a soul? And what we're saying is that the soul is the active part of the body that makes the body animated. Correct?
It's the active part that makes the body animated.
Yeah. Because human beings, we have emotions and we have desires. Correct? But the higher self, we don't tap into that. So what we find is that most of the things we do is for the body. Correct?
Yeah, yeah.
And we have our desires regardless of what we're chasing for those things. But when it comes to the mystery of the afterlife, that's a whole different story,
Yeah, yeah,
because not many people can have that conversation.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Most people stop learning from they leave school.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I would say we're constantly learning, but I think most people stop seeking education. But
Yeah.
but
I'm getting some heavy feedback from you there. Still.
sorry, can you hear me? That better?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'd say I'd say we're constantly learning though. We're constantly learning because even when you turn on the TV and whatever, we're influenced. That we're still taught. However, we stop seeking. We stop self educating. You know, because learned behavior. You could learn behavior. You could learn behavior from your friends and your family and your media. But I think people just disregard. I feel people disregard enlightenment, spirituality, or not even spirituality. People don't have a desire to gain higher knowledge,
What is spirituality?
learning about the self, understanding the self, and understanding, reaching a high state of consciousness.
Is that what spirituality is?
Anything to do with the spirit, the
But how
soul.
do we know we have a spirit? You see, this is what I'm saying. When some
Yeah.
people say, I'm spiritual, and I go, what do you mean by that? You're spiritual. Because if you're saying that you're spiritual, the spirit means to communicate.
Yeah. Mm. Mm.
You understand? But what do you mean? What are you Why am I getting feedback here?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Let me turn my mic volume down. Let me see what's going on.
I'm getting a lot of feedback.
You're getting feedback.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Cancellation.
Yeah, it's gone now. So no, it stays.
Echo. Is that better?
Yeah, I think it's gone now. Still. Hello. Is he muted?
I muted myself for. Hello?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
okay. I think you was muted for a bit. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's gone now. Still.
Oh, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. So, can you hear me all right? Yeah? I've just loaded
Yeah, I
the
can
volume.
hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you better now. Still.
What was I saying?
Because you got that condenser mic, I can hear every banging.
Yeah, I know. The plug dropped on the floor and I felt bad for your ears, man. I must have.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what was I just saying? I can't remember what I was saying now.
Spirituality you was discussing.
Spirituality
Yeah.
is, you said, basically, what is spiritual? Well, I think anybody that's religious or searching in a search for answers to the meaning of life and their existence, I'd say is spiritual, because you are now asking questions about the unseen. You're now touching on the anything that is transcends 5D sensory reality is spiritual. Would you agree?
Well, people use the word a lot, like, I'm spiritual, I'm spiritual, I'm spiritual. But at the end of the day, you have to know what you're saying when you're saying things. And I think that's what's wrong with us. Like a lot, like I said, a lot of people say, "Boy, in my spirit," but you don't know what spirit is.
Yeah.
If you said, "Oh, my feet's hurting me," I understand what you're talking about. Your feet are hurting you.
Yeah.
But when you say my spirit, I don't know what you're talking about, because
which part of the body is that?
what is it? Is it tangible?
Yeah.
It's if it's something that I can.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So we need, and then when you
It's
look
thrown
at the
around a
word where
lot.
it comes from, it actually just means spiritus. It means breath.
Okay, spiritus.
So in the Bible, when it says God breathed into Adam and Adam became a living soul, then the word is spiritus. He is breathing.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So when a woman's in labor, what does the doctor tell her to do when the baby's coming?
Breathe.
And she goes, correct?
Spirit. Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't understand the science of it. We just know that the baby pops out and you go, wow.
When she breathes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when they say, well, the soul, there has to be a soul, because when the baby comes, remember the baby, they used to deliver the baby and then the baby would just be silent. And then until the doctor slap it on its ass, and then it makes a noise, it wakes up into this realm.
Yeah. Okay.
So our ancestors say on death, it's the same thing. You're reborn into your natural position.
Which is when you're reborn. So I talk about reincarnation.
You're reborn when the flesh dies.
That's what they say in spirit in
Because every time you see somebody who passed away and you look on their body, whether it's a funeral or not, they don't look like themselves, because the eternal self has gone.
That's right. Yeah.
What left is the decay. It goes back into the earth.
Yeah.
So our ancestors taught that if you have any vices, it's better to get rid of them before you die.
Because you can't hold on to them.
Well, it's not. It affects the soul.
It affects the soul. Yeah. But then if we talk about the soul, where is the soul? It's in the psyche.
That's correct. So through reasoning, you must know what's good for yourself. Even in contemplating, when you're in a certain position and you're sitting down contemplating what you need to do, it's your thoughts that you start to, it's your thoughts. You're sitting down thinking, and throughout that thinking, you will come up with a solution, because the soul wants you to survive.
Yeah.
Even though it's a process of thought, but that's what Thoth is. Thoth is thought.
Can we touch on the emerald tablets?
Well, that's a class within itself, my friend.
Yeah. But that's from Thoth, isn't it? Apparently. Is that from Thoth?
Yeah.
Thoth and the emerald tablets. Because Thoth is I've got Thoth tattooed on my arm. I don't know why I got him tattooed, but at the time I fancied myself as an Egyptian. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, that they must have been telling you something then.
Yeah, I fancied myself as an Egyptian. Yeah.
You know who Thoth is? Let me share my screen and just give you a little bit. We go on for probably about another 20 minutes or something.
All right.
Let me just share my screen.
We're going for as long as the reasoning takes us.
Yeah. I don't know why this thing's acting, so I'm trying to stop sharing the screen.
Yeah, you have to open another tab, and then there you go.
Has it come up?
Yeah, your PowerPoint's come up. Your PowerPoint just came up.
Okay, I don't know. I haven't even. It's not come up on my side. I don't know why it's taking so long.
I think you have to open it in a window on Google, and then
I can't see it on my slide.
I can't see it on my side now. It's gone.
Can you see it on yours? Oh, what happened?
On StreamYard present. Oh, hang on, I'm
Hello?
sharing my screen. Let me stop sharing my screen and see if that helps.
What happened?
If you go, yeah, it should be able to just go into present and then click on a tab.
Are you there? What?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
I don't know if this thing's crashed, man. I can't get my slide up.
Are you going into present? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm trying to, but it's like it's not. It's
And then you have to open the tab. Let's go to share screen.
yeah, but it's when I'm clicking on the screen, it's not bringing up my thing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's crashed or something. This thing. Oh, hold on. Now it's coming. Is it coming up? Oh, hold on. This thing is acting slow, bro.
Yeah, it lags a bit. I don't know because it's the free package.
Yeah, it's acting. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's acting slow. I'm trying to share my screen. This thing's messing up, bro. StreamYard, best get their act together. Are you there?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I was just talking in the back. How to mute it. Yeah. You're still trying to open it.
If you're talking, you must be muted because I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, you just come back in. I think you was muted.
Oh no, yeah, I'll say hello, but there's a bit of a lag, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the screen up, but I don't know. I'm not having much luck. I'm trying to share screen.
Let me see if I can do it. What are we trying to? Is it something I can Google?
Oh, now it's come up. Jesus Christ! Why is it taking so long? It's like I don't know.
It's not showing up on
StreamYard needs to get their act together.
Yeah, I think they're trying to push you towards the paid package.
Yeah. But the free one has to be operating at least functional, so I can.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to share my screen, but I can't get it up on there.
Is it something I can pull up on Google? I don't know if it works.
Yeah, you can type in stuff if you want.
Okay, let me see. Let me see. Let me first try to share my screen first. Share screen. Is my tab coming up?
Hold on, I think mine's is coming up here now still. After like 10 minutes. You get run for tomorrow?
No, I haven't checked, to be honest. I haven't even checked.
Neither have I. Well, I know he texted me earlier saying, do I want some run for tomorrow or something like that? I just said no. Going somewhere and then going to Pet World. And,
I mean, if you're talking bank holiday rates, then you know what I mean. We can
yeah.
that. You know
yeah. Otherwise, you can talk to Viking and them. Yeah, see, it's just freaking finally come up, man.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it. It's nothing there yet, though.
Okay. Okay,
right,
now it's coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so slow. That's tough.
Yeah, that's it.
That's literally my symbol, my avatar.
Yeah, no, yeah. I've got him on my arm. Yeah, I've got him on my arm. Yeah, I've had him. I've got Thoth and I've got Anubis. And I've got the stag beetle.
And there's primary sources of him on the slab. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Thoth, the god of wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't really talk about that. This is Thoth when he was a baboon. You see it?
Oh, he was represented as a baboon.
Yeah.
Wow. Same
Why?
deity.
Yeah.
Why a baboon? In
Because
what
the
culture is
baboon,
that?
Egyptian culture.
And that's the early. Is that the early depiction? The earliest.
No, one of his depiction.
Oh, one
Yeah.
of his depiction. Mm-hmm.
But you know why they had him depicted like such?
Why?
Because they realized that the baboon, they would early morning, they would shout and go on. It's almost like they're worshipping the sun when it rises.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something down that line.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And this is the World Encyclopedia, the World History, when it talks about Thoth.
Okay. Okay.
Thoth is the Egyptian god of writing, magic, wisdom, and the moon. He was one of the most important gods of ancient Egypt, alternatively said to be self-created or born of the seed of Horus, from the forehead of Set, as the son of these two deities. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, forehead. Yeah.
Where was Athena? Where was she born from? She was born from the forehead of Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
And she represents wisdom like Tahuti.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yeah.
In this regards, he was also associated closely with both the principles of Mayat, divine balance, and the goddess Mayat, who personified his principles and who was sometimes seen as his wife. On another, his consort was the goddess Neth or Neith, she who embraces those in need.
Mm-hmm.
She embraces those in need, a protector goddess in the form of an an or an ass. Sorry, I can't even see that. Thoth presided over the judgment of the dead with Osiris in the halls of truth, and those souls who feared they might not pass through the judgment safety were encouraged to call upon Thoth for help. The consort most often associated with Thoth was Shishat, goddess of writing, the keeper of books, and the patron goddess of liberty, liberation, and who was alternatively his wife or daughter. Worship of Thoth began in Lower Egypt, most likely in pre-dynastic period 6000, which is 3100 BCE, continued through the Platonic period, right up until the early period. His name was often taken by kings of Egypt, example Thutmoses, born of Thoth, scribes and priests. He was most commonly depicted as a man with the head of an ibis or a seated baboon, with or without a lunar disc above his head. He was the patron god of scribes, and it was said that the scribes would pour out one drop of their ink in Thoth honor before they began writing, their daily writing work. So like what you see rappers do when they pour out their drinks to dead homies, because they attributed this god with writing, they would dip their ink and throw it out on the floor in tribute to him.
Yeah.
And these videos are the girls, obviously, she was telling you about who Thoth is.
Yeah. So Thoth is the god of wisdom, or you say wisdom.
Yeah, he was sometimes
communication.
That's correct, because he was the god of writing. So and see where it says down here, where it says Thoth Egyptian's name was Jehuti. That's how it's spelled in the Medinetta. Yeah, Jehuti meaning he who is like the abyss. The abyss was a sacred bird in ancient Egypt, as well as a popular pet and associated with wisdom. Other forms of his names are Jehuti, Tahuti, Zehuti, blah 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 blah. The lord of the Kemenor, the later city of Hermopolis, which was his major cult center. Hermopolis was the name because of the Greeks associated of Thoth with their god Hermes, and to the Greeks, Thoth became Hermes Trismegistus. Thoth, thrice great, often as the 3 times great. That was the Greeks used to say he was born 3 times. Like he came to visit Earth 3 times, basically. Athena also had that name. He was also known as Lord of Ma'at, Lord of divine words, scribe of Ma'at in the company of the gods, and as just and incorruptible judge. So when you start reading these stories,
Yeah.
and you start reading back the religious stories,
Yeah.
you will see where they get some of their typologies from. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because even in the 1st century, they understood who Thoth was. They just call him Hermes Trismegistus.
Yeah.
So that's some
It's
research if you want.
always has the same, yeah.
And remember, Athena, when it says that he was born from the head of Zeus, from the head of. Let me see. I'll show you this.
That's interesting though. It says he's born from the head, the forehead. That's born from the seat of the soul.
You understand? Whereas wisdom, because wisdom is the cerebrum.
Yeah. It's funny, the Egyptians had knowledge of the anatomy of the brain. No.
Yeah. Let me just show you something before I just click
They've
out.
also attributed to the Eye of Horus symbol to the pineal gland,
Yeah, I've seen them do that.
the third eye.
You mean this symbol here?
Yeah. See, I hear a lot of New Age spiritualism use this as the third eye. And if they cut the brain in half, if they dissect the brain, it's actually it actually looks a lot like this. It looks like the Eye of Horus symbol.
Yeah. When you click on my channel, the first video that's in the playlist, I'll go through some of that.
Yeah.
Where I was talking about that. Let me just show you this before I. Maybe I did it as well. I think it was this far now. I've got like maybe 500 and something slides. This thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. You've been in the game for over a decade now.
Yeah. Well, this one is I've done recently still. I think I've done this before Christmas. I started in November. Oh, I can't find this slide. Give me 1 second. Let me just find this slide.
Yes. Was that Greek? Some Greek pottery there.
Yeah. As they call it.
just going to heat up my cod. Just putting the microwave on, Rich. I'm going to mute you, yeah? So you don't get no background noise.
Okay, cool. Just looking for the slide before I shoot off because I'm gonna eat some food in a minute. I don't know where I put the slide. I'll find it now. There's the slide. Should be along here somewhere. Oh, God, this thing is acting too slow. Yeah. Hmm? Yes. 10 o'clock, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is that you
Coming
found
off.
it? You found it?
No.
Yeah.
Is it there?
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, this was this.
Yeah, hold on. I'm still trying to find it. I don't know where I would have put this. I thought it was like at the beginning. I don't know if I took it out of this section or not. It was just kind of showing you a thinner born in from the head of Zeus. I don't know where I put the slide. I've probably gone past it a few times, maybe. Yeah, I can't find it, bro. And this is moving a bit too slow. Yeah, I had it in there somewhere, but something you can Google still, but my computer's just moving slow.
Yeah. Well, on our next one, we can. What we do for the next topic? What would you suggest?
I'll have to think about it for a bit.
Yeah.
It's funny I can't find that slide. I don't know.
Yeah, you got 500 of them though. I can't.
Yeah, and you know, I bet you as soon as I come off and I look,
as soon as it's going to come off, you'll find it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always the way.
A lot of knowledge there, man.
It was to do with a thinner, so
Mm.
just
Yeah.
showing you basically that she was born from the head of Zeus.
Okay. I like that slide. Who's that? Oh, shit. What's going on there?
Eh?
You joke.
You know what it is? It's like when you look at this one here, yeah. it's according to the gospel writers, it was Mark who was the first writer of the gospel, of any gospel. Matthew and Luke both copied from Mark.
Yeah.
But in Mark's work, why I put this slide here, he never said anything about the
Who's that,
virgin birth.
Mark? Is that Mark?
Yeah. So when you read his book is just Jesus is a big man in his book. There's no virgin birth or anything like that.
Yeah.
So if both of them copied from his work, from Mark's work, yeah.
So that tickled me, man. That tickled me.
Then how did the virgin birth? How did he miss the virgin birth? That's why the goat is like, oh shit, you missed the virgin birth, Mark.
Yeah. I know you put those captions there, innit?
Yeah.
The dog's like, oh shit.
And it's like,
Yeah. Mark never said that. My mother is a virgin. What the fuck? Your father's. You know, man, you're ready for war. You're ready to assault. You're ready to assault those Christians, boy. You know, those Christians.
yeah, because if Mark was the first one who wrote,
Yeah,
and then Matthew and Luke copied from Mark,
yeah,
but when you go into Mark's work, there's no virgin birth.
yeah.
So that means Matthew must have looked on Mark's work and go, how comes he didn't add the virgin birth to the story?
Yeah.
And then he added it.
Yeah. So they got the
You
script
understand?
wrong.
And
So they was all working on a script, and they forgot to connect the scripts.
that's right.
Yeah.
Mark himself never wrote about a virgin birth.
Yeah.
So these basic slides are to do with Christianity and about what some of the scholars have to say. And this is what I was talking about, the principle of the hypothetical source, or what they call the documentary hypothesis.
Yeah.
And we have these sayings also in Jesus's work.
Documentary hypothesis.
Hypothesis. And we have these things in Jesus's work where he says, but those who are enemies of mine and did not want me to be king over them, bring them here and kill them in front of me.
But those who of mine did not want to be king over them, bring them here and kill them. Wow. They shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick. King Jesus, yeah.
So this is Mark 16. This is the one I was always talking about, where I say that how can you, is this not irresponsible? And I'm going to ask you as a person who is not really religious or anything like that. Tell me if you don't think this is irresponsible. Because they have pick up serpents, but if they drink any deadly thing, it would not kill them.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's not good advice, is it?
So as a Christian, before you have a dialogue with me, you have to drink poison to let me know that you're a Christian.
That's crazy.
That's straight from out of Jesus's work, and this is why we read, because when we read Porphy,
Yeah.
which I got it from, he was the one
Yeah.
who said, "Well, then, the proper thing to do would be to use this process as a test for those aspiring to be priests, bishop, or church officers. A deadly drug should be put in front of them, and only those who survive drinking should be elevated to the ranks of the church."
Wow. A deadly drug should be put in front of them. Wow. Yeah, that sounds. Yeah. So what paragraph is that? What chapter is that? In what book?
This is
Mark 14.
Porphyry. Sorry,
Okay. No, I was going to say, is that in Mark 14? Did you say this?
Mark 16.
Mark 16. Sorry.
Yeah,
Let me take a note of that. Yeah. Mark was the. No, Mark was the. Wasn't it? Was Mark the last author? No, he wasn't. He was
no,
the
Mark was the first.
second one. The first
No,
one.
he was
Yeah.
the first.
Was okay. I thought Matthew. Okay. Mark was the first.
This is what I was showing you here. Here, even though they had
Oh,
poor
yes.
text, but Mark was
Oh, yeah,
about
64.
70 AD.
70 AD,
Yeah.
and then Matthew, and then Luke. Okay. All right. Okay. So Mark was the first. Okay. Yeah.
So Mark was the first to write, apart from Paul, because I think they date Paul letters earlier, but we're just talking about the Synoptic Gospels. So Mark was the first one to write. Matthew copied Mark's work, a big number of it, like 92% or even more of his work.
Yeah.
And then Luke copied from both Mark and Matthew.
Ah, I see. Okay.
So you read them independently and you will see that the stories are different within them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Mark, as I said, he forgot the virgin birth. So therefore, if Mark forgot the virgin birth, where did Matthew
Yeah.
get the
Yeah, the
virgin
Matthew,
birth from?
yeah, get the first year, but the virgin birth from. Yeah. Yeah.
And this is why
Yeah.
I said to you, Celsus looked on it and said they took these works from Greek mythos.
Greek mythos. Yeah. Yeah.
Danae being pregnant by Zeus represents a virgin birth.
Yeah. Celsus was one of the philosophers, was he?
Yeah,
Celsus.
I wouldn't say he was a philosopher. I think people say he was like a historian.
Celsus, C-E-L. C-U-S, Celsus. Yeah.
This is his book here. Hold on.
I'm gonna check out his work still. That sounds like you got my attention when you was talking about the rituals that Christians used to do.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, it sounds like Celsus has got a lot. Celsus, his work sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's not the best copy, but that's his book.
Okay, Jesus Christ, superstition.
Oh no, that's not his book. Sorry. He's kind of like this. That's it here.
Celsus on the true doctrine. Okay. Okay.
It's not the best copy, but you can start off by reading this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's more works on him as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are the source for some of the things that you hear me tell you.
Yeah.
When he was like one of the first critic of Christianity.
Okay.
They end up burning his books because it was too dangerous. They couldn't really answer some of the things he was saying.
Okay. So when you say it's not the best copy, it's not the
best translation.
Translations, yeah.
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 I was listening to a doctor the other day, New Testament studies, and he was saying it's not really the best copy, but it's a good place to start.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's more works on Celsus.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So that's it, really.
Yeah. No, man. Yeah. There's a lot of information. A lot of good information there, man. You can build on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even gone through half of it still, but
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
The three wise men.
nah, was just the story of if you look at this text, which I'm going to probably do a thing on, you can see where it says Manetho. Manetho is an old Egyptian sage, recounted that this barbarous and violent people from the east invaded Egypt, burned Egypt's cities, destroyed temples, and slaughtered the natives, constructing a capital in the Nile Delta at Avaris, a city dedicated to the god who?
It's called Apophis, Typhon, Set.
That's right. So the thing is, who were these people who invaded
What's
it?
that? So basically, Moses gave you the one God Set.
Sorry, say that again.
You say Moses spoke of this God Set.
That's correct.
This
That's
was
the god. That's the god that they worship. We have archaeological evidence of it.
So who's Ra?
No, I'm not talking about the Egyptians. I'm talking about in the Levant.
Okay.
But even though Set was an Egyptian deity, but he was the god of foreigners. Later, in later time, he became like the god of foreigners. That's who we're talking about here.
Okay. Set. Yeah.
So they make out like he's got a dog head on, but the animal that Set is wearing, like his head, they can't describe what animal that is. But some people just think it's like a dog jackal because it looks like a jackal. But it's not really a jackal.
It looks a bit like Anubis, isn't it? I've seen this before, but I've seen many depictions, but I always associate this dog head with Anubis.
Yeah.
But I see it's used a lot across many, even in the media as well. And I think it was used at one of those rappers' concert as well.
Yeah, a lot of them know who the god Set is and what Set is about. Yeah, but most people, like I said, just think it's a dog head, but it's not. It's not really.
Yeah.
And according to some texts, that god was worshipped a lot.
Why the dog's head though? What's the connection there? Because like, I always wonder why they use certain animals. You know,
Yeah, that's a whole different story, bro.
it's a whole different topic, isn't it?
Yeah. That can go into. Yeah. Once you start talking about them subjects, it's like
hours.
Yeah. It's hours.
Celsius.
Yeah.
That's what it's the removal and anthropomorphic concept. From the concept of God and the removal concept of mankind, in the end, we are left with a God whose essence is unknowable and undescribable. Okay, that's atheist. That's the definition of an atheist.
Yeah, that's Moses Maimonides, one of the preeminent scholars on the Torah.
So
and that's what he. There you go.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you could be considered an atheist.
Sorry?
You could be considered an atheist.
No, because this is his thing on atheism. Basically saying that, and sometimes when you talk to an atheist, they're not really saying anything because an atheist just don't believe in anything. And sometimes an atheist would sometimes say, oh, well, we use science, but science is a good tool, but sometimes, they don't really contribute anything. Because as I said before, when you look at Islam, for instance, a lot of people, they wouldn't really just go out and insult their God, a Muslim God.
Yeah.
they'll think twice about doing it. Why?
Yeah. Why is that though? Yeah. Because
Because Muslims are not going to accept
language.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So regardless if you are not, you don't believe in their God or nothing like that, it's just what
Mm.
that the unity that can bring when you have some form of festival or culture representing
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you don't have no God, or you're without God, you just don't believe in anything, you don't value
Yeah.
anything.
You don't belong to anything.
So sometimes the mythos they were used to inspire people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Like Jesus, for instance, people say Jesus is not real, but then the myth of Jesus
Mhm.
helped Christianity to literally dominate the world. You understand? I think you muted yourself, bro. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Hello?
you just come back. Yeah, you just come back.
Oh yeah, I just realized the microphone can be muted. These microphones, you can tap it and mute it.
Yeah. And I know when you go mute because I can just hear like the sound just go.
Okay, yeah. Well, most Abrahamic religion has dominated the world. Does dominate the world now, doesn't it? You know, it's been used as a political means, just to. But then at the same time, you know, there seems to be a lot of references to Satan and Lucifer lately. So I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, we've been
Mm.
over that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just stories, really.
Mm.
Who and what is Satan? We can
Yeah.
have for our next discussion if you want.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we can go deeper than that. Yeah.
Yeah, we could, but it goes deeper still. I mean, it
Yeah.
goes into a different conversation, but
Yeah. Okay.
satanic, Satanism, like,
Yeah.
what is it?
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
ritual
Yeah.
and symbolisms. That's all
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah. All right then. Yeah. Yeah. We can do that for next one. Yeah. Yeah. We jump on my channel for that one then.
Yeah, you can set
Yeah.
the time and so forth, and then we
Yeah.
just jump on there.
All right then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. It's been a good podcast. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks
I'm
for
gonna get some food and them things and
All
that
right
stuff.
then. All right then. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
so
catch up then. Yeah.
make sure you pick the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, I will do. And I'll do some research. I'll prepare for it.
All right,
Yeah.
cool, man.
All right then. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right. Bless.